You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Hi, everybody. Great to see you here this morning. Thanks so much for joining us at our Center of Love. We really appreciate you coming, and we also appreciate all of the folks that are watching online, on live stream, and also later on YouTube. So again, thank you for your presence, and I'm going to turn it over to our practitioner emeritus, Ms. Bernie Austin.
Good morning and welcome. You know, it's really nice to see you all. Those of us that hunkered down yesterday to stay cold at home, that was me. And today, those of us that are brave enough to come out in the cold, but we still have sunshine, so it's a good day to be here.
Yes.
Welcome to the people that are going to join us live online and on Facebook, and those of you that are going to watch YouTube later. So welcome. Very grateful to have you all here, and there is something about the connection when we come together to join in lifting the spirit of us. And today we have somebody pretty wonderful speaking, being interviewed by you, and somebody even as wonderful singing to us, Gia, and Chris playing the piano. So welcome to you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bernie. Love it. Okay, thank you. And here's Bill. Bill,
Good morning.
You've grown. You're taller now.
I'm taller up here.
Right.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can we create a world that works for everyone?
I think that's a yes back there.
I think so.
Okay.
You know, a world where hunger, disenfranchisement, and war no longer prevail. Can we embrace forgiveness, compassion, respect, and the sharing of resources? What are you willing to commit to? We have the freedom to be whoever we want to be. People often have ideas about what they think we should be or do. Has anyone ever told you that you should be like them? Who gets to decide how you are going to live your life? When we listen to our own heart and our inner guidance, we get to be the kind of person we want to be. Who do you want to be? I invite you to close your eyes for a moment, take a breath, relax. Pick a time and place in the future, maybe years, months, days, hours, or even minutes. What will you be doing? How will you give back to the world? I invite you to repeat after me. I have the power and freedom to create my reality.
I have the power and the freedom to create my reality.
And so it is.
And I invite the practitioners and ministers to stand, honoring this prayer. I also invite you to close your eyes and settle into this divine moment, knowing that we are one with the divine, the God source of life, connecting to the radiant beauty, the joy, the goodness, which I call God. And I know as we connect to that divine source, that beauty surrounds us, that we open our hearts to this special time when we gather together to hear these words of inspiration, of joy, of overcoming, being our best self, that it is all part of God's plan for our lives, and that we totally embrace that today, knowing that for ourselves and for each other, and that beauty and joy radiates out into our community and to the world, and that we surround everything in love, because love is the answer. So I am so grateful to know this truth today, So grateful to be in community, in connection, uplifting, and holding that space for eternal joy. And with a heart filled with gratitude, I simply release these words in the divine mystery of the law, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you. Let us continue to breathe deeply and turn within and just feel the essence of love that is within all of us. Even when it feels like it isn't, it still is. And so today we reconnect with that love as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
A reading from Spiritual Empowerment Through and Beyond the 12 Steps by James Lockman. At the end of step 9, you will discover one of the best parts of the spiritual movement known as Alcoholics Anonymous, the promises. They list 12 in the AA text, but there are really a lot more. We invite you to feel these promises as personal promises for your own life. They read as follows. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the doors on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experiences can benefit others. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook on life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work. And now James writes, when I used to read these promises, I just assumed they would eventually happen. It took me some time to figure out they were my responsibilities to create. And so it is.
And so again, in the spirit of all the good that is for us right here and right now, all of the promises of the divine, the promises of love, let us open our hearts to receive that, to trust it and to know it, and to be that place where these promises show up. The promises of the divine love show up as we remember our true nature. Our true nature is holy and whole. It is love, it is peace, it is perfection. It is the innocence of an infant that comes into the world as one with spirit. And even though we grow and change over the years, we are still at our core one with spirit. Another name for spirit or God or love is I am. And so today, collectively, we remember the I am presence, that which we truly are, beneath the layers that we may have placed upon it. The I am presence that is true love, that is true peace and true happiness. As we sing together, I am remembering who I am, we remember for ourselves our true nature, but we also remember for every single person in this room and every single being on the planet. So as we sing together, let us extend that remembrance, both inwardly and outwardly, to embrace the entire cosmos, including our sweet, innocent selves. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering from the love of this divine remembrance. Let us breathe in deeply and embody it. And then breathe in again. And as we exhale, we gently open our eyes as the presence of love, in love and in service to what is. And so it is.
Good morning. One drop of rain begins the flow, and a flower pushes up to greet the sun. A melody, my heart aflame, and I can't stop feeling that we are one. Every day I wake up grateful for who I am. Wondrous, each of us, incomparable. All of us, wondrous, each of us. Every drop of rain is all of us, wondrous. The darkest hour receives the dawn, and with each new day I am born in song. I close my eyes and I can see every one of us can sing along. A star is falling and it reminds me of who we are. Wondrous, ooh, each of us, incomparable. All of us, wondrous, oh, each of us. Every star that shines is all of us, wondrous. That's right. Every snowflake, star, and flower is the breath of all life's power. Timeless beauty sings a chorus. Adore the source, and the source adores us. Every snowflake, star, and flower is the breath of all life's power. Timeless beauty sings a chorus. Adore the source, and the source adores us. Wonders, ooh, each of us. Every drop of rain is all of us, wondrous. Oh, each of us. Every star that shines is all of us, wondrous. Oh, each of us. Incomparable. All of us, wondrous. Oh, each of us. Every drop of rain is all of us, wondrous. One drop of rain.
I know. Did you write that song? I did. She wrote that song. Look at you. Just amazing. Just amazing. All right. Pardon me while I get organized here. Let's see. So, I think some of you are probably here for the first time, and some of you are probably here for the 100th time, and some of you are here especially to see James, our guest interview person, James Loftman, right? Okay, good. I'm just going to give a very brief sort of setup for this interview. So James has written a book, and we'll talk more about that later, but the book is on the slide now, and it's Spiritual Empowerment Through and Beyond the 12 Steps, 6 Steps Beyond the Original 12 for Wholeness and Oneness. And I just wanted to kind of presence this to give it a little bit of context. We rent our space downstairs to a lot of different recovery groups, and also some of the other outbuildings in our campus here. And we have so much respect for the work that they do. It's just amazing. I mean, it's just lives change, and it's wonderful. And so we want to first of all acknowledge the work of the 12-Step organization. And let's just all give it all a big round of applause. How much we appreciate the recovery process and those who participate, those who are courageous enough to participate. The other thing that I wanted to presence, though, too, is that one of my mentors, who's Richard Rohr, who's a mystical Franciscan monk and father, he mentions that all of us are addicts, that you don't have to be going to a 12-step meeting to be an addict. We're all addicted to something. I just found out recently that I have an adrenaline addiction, which James talks about in his book as well. I think most of you know that I have a sugar addiction. But the biggest addiction that Richard Rohr talks about is, he says that thought is our biggest addiction. And by thought, he means things like worry and, I don't know what else. Judgment, things like that. Anybody got one they want to share with the room? Self-righteousness. David. Who knew? Yeah, so all kinds of things like that. So we're here today to make sure that you know that these spiritual principles apply not only to people that are going to meetings, they apply to all of us. And I know that James makes that very present in his book, but I just wanted to say it too so that we all get on the same page. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and call up our guest here, James. James, you're going to sit in that chair. And I'm going to sit in this chair. And there's James. Yeah, Ventura Love. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, James, before I start peppering you with questions, let me just also show the second slide. So on that slide, it may be a little hard for you to see, but James is the one in the stripy shirt when he was a little boy, and I made it closer so you can see. Is that so cute? Is that the most adorable thing you've ever seen? Look at that big smile, right? Yeah, and there's not been a lot of change, really, No. Had you worn a striped shirt, I might have been, wait, where is it? No. No, anyway, so thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Me.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Yeah. So, before we jump into the recovery process and what it was for you, can you tell us a little bit about your history with addiction and what that was like?
Well, it goes back to probably that age there.
Really?
Yeah, with sugar.
With sugar.
That
yeah.
was the first physical addiction, and then there was fear.
Uh-huh.
I had 3 older brothers.
Yeah.
Got beat up a lot.
They were scary, yeah.
Yeah. But the physical addiction, the first one was sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, it was just replaced. But what happened at that point was I got in the habit of taking things externally to try and calm the conflict internally.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So,
yeah.
and that's what I really learned through this process, is that my external conditioning is in conflict with my internal existence.
Right, yeah. Your external conditioning is in conflict with your internal existence. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to say a little more about that?
Well, it's just, we get programmed. All of us get programmed. I got programmed, the first one was church.
Mm-hmm.
I got programmed, and I never understood because I couldn't eat meat on Fridays. Well, what's Friday got to do with it? And then there was the other one. I couldn't go to Butcher's churches. It was a sin. But he could go to mine. It's like, well, where does that make sense?
Huh. Yeah.
So all these things that I was being programmed to didn't make sense.
Right.
And I just always question everything.
Yeah.
Columbus discovered America. Well, what were the Indians doing?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, so the programming began real early.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this picture here is before I got programmed.
Right,
But
right.
then I got into kindergarten and the educational system started,
Yeah.
and I had trouble there.
And so I love what you're saying. And let's talk about a little later in your life, because I have that great picture of you that I'd like to show. Tell us about your time in Vietnam and what happened when you came back. And here's the picture. Oh, wait. Oh, written by James Loftman. That's James at the Taj Mahal. That's not Vietnam. But anyway, this great picture. This is James with his mother in what, Tijuana, you said?
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering, that is a donkey painted like a zebra. And if you can't see see James's hat, it says "drunk again" on it, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Explain.
Well, it's, I mean, if you look at me, you can say I'm not there. You know, I don't know how long I've been back from Vietnam, but when I came back, I had a really bad adrenaline addiction. You know, and the only thing I could find to even come close to that was smuggling.
Smuggling?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
when you get up to the border guard and you've got all these drugs and he's either going to check you or let you go. As soon as he says go, well then you go, and your heart just starts beating. And it's the same, it's the end of a firefight. It's like when you're in a firefight, you really don't think, you really you just respond and react, and then they'll tell you all clear.
A firefight is like a war,
Yeah.
right? Not
Yeah.
putting out fires, yeah. Okay.
And so when they tell you all clear, you get that rush again, and your heart just starts beating. So,
Interesting.
and you know, I've had that addiction for most of my life. As a matter of fact, June 1st this past year was last motorcycle accident, and hopefully the end of the adrenaline rush.
So, and you started going to 12-step groups because of alcohol, was it?
Well, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
When I got back, I'd already been to 12-step program before that was taken. When I got back from Vietnam, the Army assigned me to a recovery program in Pacific Grove for treatment to alcoholism
Yeah.
because I couldn't show up for work.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, you're a hero, James. I just got to say, right here, right now, you're a hero. Because here you are today, a completely changed person, right?
well, and it's happened through this what I call spiritual movement of
Right.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right. So yeah, that reminds me. I'm going to change the slides so we're not looking at that donkey painted as a zebra. Spiritual movement that applies to all of us. You know, and one thing that you were saying before about the using the external to fix the internal. Throughout your book, it has this. This is spoken many times throughout your book, or written many times throughout your book, in that alcoholism or adrenaline addiction or sugar addiction or any drug addiction, it's all a symptom of something greater. And what would you say to that? It's a symptom versus
It
a
is.
cause.
It's
Yeah.
just, in other words, when I came back, my real addiction at the time was self-loathing. You know, because I hated what I'd done and who I'd become during that year. And in order to be okay with that, I mean, then there's the other drugs that you go along with it. You got shame, you got guilt, and you got insecurity, and you have all these emotional drugs. And it's just, for me, the only way to live with them was through chemicals.
Yeah.
So what I found, and I've been in recovery for over 50 years, so I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and most of them have an emotional addiction long before they have a physical addiction.
Yeah. I
So-
love that.
Yeah.
I love it that you said it so boldly, self-loathing. I mean, that impresses me because not that many people will actually acknowledge that, particularly in churches where we're taught to love ourselves, and then you're brave enough to say that your addiction in the past was self-loathing, which I think is true probably for a lot of people, and shame and guilt and I don't know, despair, chronic fear, all of those things. And then what I heard you say was that alcohol or drugs or adrenaline were symptoms that helped you sort of mitigate that, right? It's kind
Right,
of-
that's
yeah,
how I survived.
that's how you survived,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
So addiction was really a survival technique for you.
Right,
Wow.
and I find that for quite a few people
Yeah,
because of
interesting.
the, The thing I love, there's so many things I love about the 12-step movement. And one of them is it tells you that the problem centers in the mind.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's just, it's our thinking, it's the thought process that we go through.
Right.
And,
Right.
you know, there's so many. I spent 30 years in AA program, basically. You know, and I just looked at what I had accomplished. You know, I hadn't drank, I hadn't gone to jail, I had all these things that I'd accomplished. But I didn't really have any freedom. You know, I didn't know what freedom was. Because I was told you go to meetings, if you don't go to meetings, you get loaded. If you don't do this, you're going to get loaded. You know, and there was this element of fear that was attached to it. And at 30 years, I just broke down. I was up in Idaho working on a project, and I couldn't get out of bed.
Wow.
You know, I just started having panic attacks. I got suicidal. So I had to move back down here, and I moved in with my sister. And she told me to go to VA. That was the last place I wanted to go. But I went.
You did.
You know,
yeah.
and I met this counselor up there, and he really saved my life. And the first thing is, well, you got to take these drugs. No, I'm not needing any drugs, man. I hit my last pill October 14th, 1976. I don't want to go there again.
Just to clarify, by drugs you mean antidepressants or anti-anxiety, like
Yeah.
medically prescribed medication?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I think I ended up on Valium.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's just,
Yeah.
But I didn't want to take them.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, I can't help you.
Uh-huh.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you got to take these drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, give them here.
Yeah.
You know. And so I went through that process, and it took a long time. And I would just go to the beach, and I'd walk, and I would cry. And that went on for a long time.
So what's the difference between then and now? And actually also what inspired you to write the book? That's probably the same
Well,
question.
The thing that really helped me was that this therapist told me that I had to quit going to AA for a while. I go, what do you mean,
Interesting.
quit going to AA? That's all I know.
Yeah.
I said, look, I haven't drank. He said, yeah, but you know, you're not well. So when I took off the time from AA, I wasn't able to get to meetings, which I'd been doing for over 30 years. It was like, what do I do? So what happened was I started reading the book.
You started reading the book.
I
And
started
by the book
studying
you
the
mean,
text.
By the book you mean the big blue book?
Right.
Okay.
Alcoholics Anonymous. And what I learned was what they talk about in the book wasn't what we were talking about in the meeting.
Huh.
I mean, there was such a difference between the meeting and the book.
So what are some of those differences?
Well, it's like there's a part in the book where it tells you the problem's been removed, it doesn't exist for you anymore. And then the very next paragraph, it tells you, but alcohol's a subtle foe, you got to watch for it.
Okay.
So it was like, well, wait a minute, you just told me I'm okay, and now you tell me I got to keep watching for this thing.
Okay.
So there wasn't anywhere where I could be at rest and at peace.
I see.
And then step 10, continue to take personal inventory. When you were wrong, promptly admitted it. So now they got me looking at what's wrong all the time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's like, whoa.
All right.
You know? And it's like, wait a minute. And the therapist, it was just like, you know, why don't you look at what's right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what a great idea. You know, there were so many things that because I wasn't sitting in the meeting listening to the problems and the disease. That was another thing. In the big book, it says the disease is spiritual in nature.
It's spiritual in nature. Okay.
Right. It's not a physical disease. It's a spiritual disease.
Okay.
And it tells us it's a spiritual malady. So, and it also says if you straighten out spiritually, you'll straighten out mentally and physically. So, to me, it just became the whole thing was basically nothing but a spiritual movement. And we kept calling it a program. And I got programmed by it for years. So it was after that year off when I came back, I couldn't really relate to what was going on in the meetings anymore.
I see.
Because to me, it was just so far from what they were trying to get across. Because, yeah.
Yeah. So just to again, bring this into the room, I hear you saying, and I've heard other people say, that the 12-step program is fantastic. It's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. And everything is supposed to evolve in its own way. And perhaps in some of the programs that you've attended, there's been a lack of balance. So there's focusing on what is the danger of relapsing, and then there's also the celebration of what's going right for you, right? And so it sounds like your book is bringing that balance into the whole picture. That's what I got from reading it.
Okay, the reason I wrote the book was, what I would like people to understand was that when they created that thing, and you got to remember, the AA came about in 1935. We were just getting over the Depression, and there was World War II was on the horizon. Started in 1939. And to me, it's like the universe knew we needed some direction.
Right.
And so they gave us this design for living. And the design for living, it's an amazing trip.
Yeah.
Just like everything I can talk about, I've done through the 12 steps, through inventories. You know,
Right,
that's how I know. I go back to kindergarten, where it all started. You know, I got kicked out of kindergarten. It went downhill from there. Like, wow.
All right. That's awesome. I won't ask what you did, but because I didn't really know about the smuggling either. But that's another conversation.
Well, yeah, it's
yeah,
just-
yeah,
And it was always for the feeling. It was always for the rush.
yeah.
You
For
know,
the rush.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
And
So-
even today, it's like, well, I don't know what I do to get it now.
Yeah, sure. But, okay, so I want to talk about like the shift into the more, before I talk about that, I want to talk about one thing, and I think it'll lead it to us. I've heard many people in this denomination, right, in our movement, which for those of you who may never have come here before, we're called Science of Mind or Religious Science or Centers for Spiritual Living. It's a little confusing, but anyway, it was founded by this guy named Ernest Holmes, and it's very, very positive, and it's very, very empowering. And so what I've heard from folks in recovery sometimes is that it's the first step, right, where you admit that you're powerless over your addiction, and a lot of people in this denomination struggle with that. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's when you begin the process, you are powerless. And to me, if you just said I'm powerless and my life is unmanageable, that would be fine. But when you say I'm powerless over alcohol, now all of a sudden you're focused on one thing, and our lack of power. And in the book, it tells you lack of power is our dilemma.
Lack of what?
Lack of power is our dilemma.
Yeah.
So if it's our dilemma, then you would think we need to get power back.
Right.
So where did the power go? Where did my power go?
Yeah.
And that's where I came up with the power leaks.
Right. In James's book, he talks about power leaks, which is a beautiful concept. If you'd like to explain that a little more, that would be awesome.
Well, power leaks, for me, jealousy was a big one. You know, because of your own self-loathing and your insecurity, then, eventually someone's going to find out who you really are.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're going to be in trouble. So, but it's fear. Another one is lack. It's jealousy, envy, shame, guilt. I mean, these are all when you're in that mindset, your personal frequency drops. So for me, it's like, it's the same as when I talk about the world of the spirit. In step 10, it says we move into the world of the spirit. This is not an overnight matter. We should continue to study it for our lifetime.
Okay.
But I've been to I don't know how thousands of meetings, and we never talk about the world of the spirit.
Okay.
We talk about alcohol, which is a symptom.
Okay. Yeah. So I love, just to reiterate what you said, you were talking about power leaks, right? Power leaks such as, what was yours again? It was jealousy.
Jealousy.
Yeah, that was probably one of several, for perhaps many of us. Jealousy, or you mentioned shame, guilt, criticism, and all that stuff. So back when you were drinking or using drugs or using adrenaline or sugar, your default would be to if you were feeling or not feeling those things, right? Feeling that leak of power out of you, you would medicate with alcohol or adrenaline or something else. So what's the alternative to that? What do you do instead? What do you do now?
Well, now I know I'm worth it.
You worth what?
I'm worth more than alcohol. I'm worth more than shame. I'm worth more than guilt, more than jealous. I'm worth more than those emotions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm really deviating from my list here. I'm putting him on the spot because I gave him the questions before. Why are you worth it?
Well, because I've learned how to love unconditionally. I've learned how to be present. I've learned that life isn't about me. My own life isn't about me. You know, I'm in a collective of human, actually spiritual beings. But it was the process of getting over self-loathing.
Uh-huh.
You know, and so I did what they call the mirror work.
Oh, yeah,
Get
tell
in
us
front
about
of the
that.
mirror
Yeah.
and I say, I love you, and feel real bad. And
Makes you want to
Yeah.
rush out and look in the mirror, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But I continued to do it, you know,
Yeah.
and eventually it worked. Pretty soon I was just there making faces at myself and laughing.
And loving yourself,
And,
right?
yeah, I love myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been in situations, it's just, there was a country western song out, and I loved that song because it was about the relationship or whatever, and it was over and whatnot. And the guy says, "But I love me more."
Aw, that's great. So you love you more than self-loathing. You love you more than alcohol. You love you more than adrenaline rushes, more than sugar. That's awesome. I love that. You know what they do in India when somebody said something really wise? They go like this. They bow to their feet and touch it. So I bow to you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. So let's see. I was going to tap on that a little bit. So you wrote the book to presence this alternative way of being in the world and of being in recovery, right?
Really, I would like for people, like step one in the New Six is we were empowered through a spiritual reawakening, and our lives have become incredible. Because to me, that's what happens in this process.
Right, right.
I mean, I just listened to a lady the other day, 40-some years sober, talking about how if she doesn't go to meetings, she's going to get loaded.
Oh,
See, and I don't see any freedom in that. You know, there has to be a time when you go beyond what you think your problem is.
absolutely. So, yeah, when I heard you say before about how the recovery process, you didn't feel freedom in it, and then when you're experiencing the power leaks, you raise yourself up to a different vibration through loving yourself, and that raise in vibration creates immense freedom, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
It's the book, The Four Agreements.
The Four Agreements,
You
yeah.
know, the first one is be impeccable with your word. So if I sit here in the room and I tell you I'm an alcoholic and I haven't drank in 40-some years, it's like, well, wait a minute. What do alcoholics do? Alcoholics drink, you know? And if you're going to attach yourself to that label, at least put recovered in front of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're allowed to say recovered?
Well, it's in the book at least a dozen times.
Okay.
But I can probably name 6 people in the area that say they're recovered.
Uh-huh.
Everyone else just an alcoholic.
Yeah. Can you say I was? Are you allowed to say I was an alcoholic? No, I'm not?
No, I don't know. I'll give it a
Try
try.
it, get back to me, yeah. Yeah.
See, I always just identify as I'm James Lockman. I'm extremely grateful to be anywhere.
Wait,
Because-
say that slowly, say that slowly. Say that again.
I'm James Lockman. I'm extremely grateful to be anywhere.
I love that. I think that deserves more. Yeah.
Whatever I say after I am is what my frequency will resonate at.
Yes, absolutely. So we've been taught in this denomination to be very careful with our I ams, right? And I think, you know, sometimes people criticize me for talking about my flaws, you know, and but I think you can say what you struggle with. Let's say just hypothetically, I struggle with envy. And if those of you who know me, then I'm Enneagram 4, that is what Enneagram 4s do. They struggle with envy. But if I say I struggle with envy and laugh about it, I am envious and laugh about it, that sort of mitigates it. It just becomes part of the human condition, right? You know, and it's almost like you can see what is going on with you that is not who you want to be, and in the laughter you renounce it somehow and you become who you really are. So you could try that in a 12-step meeting. I'm an alcoholic. Sorry, just had to throw that in there. I don't recommend trying that. Okay, so you wrote the book to give a different perspective, to add and enhance, I would say, the 12-step movement. Yeah, and to make it sounds like to make it more truthful to what was intended in the original text, right?
Right.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to gloss over that first step, because I heard a big sigh of relief in the congregation, and I don't know if you can read it from there, but can you read it slowly? This is James wrote 6 additional steps to go with the 12 steps, and this is the first one. So would you read it slowly to us?
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
We admitted we were empowered through a spiritual reawakening, and that our lives have become incredible.
Can you admit that your life has become incredible? All right, I see some hands up there. Yeah. Maybe not every moment of every day, but as you point out in your book, that even the things that seem like they are not working for you actually are working for you, right?
Well, yeah. To me,
Yeah.
life always happens for you.
Yeah.
It never happens to you.
Yeah.
And as long as you think it's happening to you, you don't get the gift of it.
That's right. You become a victim of life, right?
Yeah,
Instead of a victor.
exactly.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
Yeah.
to me, it's really important to understand. It's like, to me, there's no mistakes in God's world.
Right.
And I was working with a fellow the other day, and he's got all these issues going on. And I asked him, well, do you believe there's any mistakes in God's world? Well, no. Well, if there's none in God's world, can there be any in yours?
Yeah.
Because you're in God's world.
Yeah. It definitely speaks of additional steps for wholeness and oneness. That's part of the tagline in your book, wholeness and oneness, because God's world is my world and your world and everybody's
Exactly.
world, right?
Yeah.
Will you read us the second one there?
Came to know that the spiritual laws within the awakening would keep us in wholeness.
So we've awakened, and the spiritual laws will keep us in wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna move through these because we're almost out of time. What's the third one?
I don't remember these things, even though I wrote them. So I'm certainly
Happens to me
glad
too.
you have them up there.
Can you see him from? Oh,
I
okay.
can. Having aligned our spiritual awareness with oneness, as a result of these experiences, continue to watch for separation.
Right. So we're aligned with oneness, and we just look for those moments where we sometimes veer into separation. Happens to all of us, right?
Yeah, it goes through the mind.
Yeah. And then yeah.
This design for living is to take you through the heart. It's like the promises that were read, and I love that. Thank you so much. It was
Bill did a great job.
the one promise. Intuitively, we know how to handle situations which used to baffle us.
Yes.
Intuition is an act of the heart and the soul.
Yeah.
It bypasses the mind altogether.
Right.
And movement says the problem centers in the mind.
Yeah.
So when you create these promises and you start living through your heart and your soul, you have very few issues.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's where the real freedom is in the heart and the soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How about number 4?
admitted to ourselves and anyone interested in the exact nature of our growth. Now, the reason for this one is because people get programmed.
Right.
And to go outside the program and to get outside the box, they really don't want to do it.
Uh-huh.
Because this is already working. So it doesn't matter whether it'll take you beyond, they still have a hard time letting go.
Oh, I see. So
So-
even if there's something better, you still don't want to leave your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So that was the purpose of that one.
You know what I think is amusing about that? Sorry. Admitted to ourselves and anyone interested.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I'm going to tell you the exact nature of my growth. You know? Like chasing down little old ladies on the street. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. I think that's hilarious. I love it. It's brilliant, but it's okay. Okay, and then let's read number 5.
Continued through prayer and meditation to grow in understanding and awareness in every area of our lives. Awareness is the new drug of choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Woohoo! That's dude. May I just say that is a T-shirt or a bumper sticker or a meme on something. I don't really know what a meme is, but it's something, okay? Awareness is the new drug of choice. I love that. Thank you. You want to read the 6th one?
Having become aligned with oneness, try to carry the message of this union to others and continue to live in wholeness.
Nice. Aligned with oneness, carrying the message, sharing the good, right? So it's not just for you, it's for everyone, and living in wholeness. It's
And it gets lonely because people don't want to change.
I know.
Yeah, no, you know.
I'm familiar. Thank you. Okay, before we let James go, I want to just, James's book is fantastic, and he has so much positivity in it, and also his story too, which is important, but I just want to give us a fun little quiz. So James has these great acronyms. One is for ego, and how many of you heard that ego is normally called edging God out, right? Wayne Dyer says that. You know what James says it is? James says that it's enjoying greater opportunities. Isn't that sweet? I love it. Life, L-I-F-E, what could that be? Looking inside for everything. How about that? Love that one. And then faith, F-A-I-T-H. Anybody have a guess? No? Okay. Faith is finding answers in the heart. Yeah, wonderful. So James is at a table in our social hall after the service selling his books, and right now I just want to give him so much love and so much support for everything that you've done.
Thank you
for
so
the world.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take in the applause. You are loved. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Let us pray. And so we turn within and just acknowledge the power and presence of God, that oneness, that peace, that power, that love, that happiness, that place of power and place of grace, that place that has no leaks, that place that is absolutely everything. It is the darkness and the light. It is everything, everything that happens for us, everything that seemingly happens against us that is actually happening for us. And we anchor in that place, we become one with it, we trust it, we know it as our very own. It is who we are right here and right now, no matter where we've been, no matter what we've done. That grace and that goodness is who we are, the very bottom of our hearts and our souls and our spirits. And so in this place of knowing, I trust that great transformation has taken place here today in this sacred room, that we have benefited from the wisdom of everyone who has participated today. Not only James with his wisdom, but for the various people that have spoken and sung, and through everybody here that has loaned their consciousness to this sacred gathering. And I know that lives are transforming, that we are moving into that place of greater energy and greater freedom, that we are moving into that place of greater loving power, the power that not only blesses our lives, but blesses the lives of everybody around us. And as we say in this center, we believe deeply in the ripple effect, that as we transform our innerness, as we have faith in the power and the presence of the loving God within us that loves us completely, we become vessels of love, and that love ripples outward to bless the entire cosmos. We may not know how it is done, we may not be able to trace it, but we know that it is being done. We know the what and not the how. We don't have to know the how. We just know that the ripple effect is true and that it blesses the entire world, and that we lift up the world through our spiritual work together. And so I'm just so grateful for James and his wisdom, so grateful for his book that is transformative, so grateful for this time together, so grateful for the transformation that I know is occurring in each of us, and grateful for this teaching and all teachings everywhere. I bless our center. I bless all paths to God. synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, Sikh gurdwaras, fundamentalist atheists, agnostics, all beings everywhere. And with a heart that is so filled with grace and graciousness, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, love, and I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste. Hey, Bern, how you doing? Oh, thank you. Yeah,
This is why we come here.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for Gia's song. Thank you for your wonderful book. Thank you for bringing this kind of material to us. One of the reasons that
give me a hint.
Sounds like 3 words too. No. This is why this center is so filled with the emotion, the resonance, the perspective of changing lives and changing through thought and minds, and aligning ourselves with the kind of material that we resonate with and that resonates with us. And so with that in mind, the donation that you give today is about forwarding this message and rippling it out into the world. And so with that, if you'd place your donation, your hands over your heart, and say with me, we trust in spirit.
We trust in spirit.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
We offer this gift.
We offer this gift.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance.
Our gifts bless many
Our gifts bless many
and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
so that we may give again.
so that we may give again.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you.
Love to go into a meeting and say that and laugh. I'm a sober person, so this is like super related. I wasn't even supposed to sing today. I wasn't scheduled. I was asked, and when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. I love the one mind, right? So I'm going to sing this song that I wrote really about all of this, those voices. There are a lot of ways to be psychic. I hear things, and one of the things I hear a lot is that voice in my head that says not nasty things. So I wrote it to this. I wrote this song to that. Right? I'm not bringing my bucket to an empty well, or reliving those heartbreak stories I keep wanting to tell. I don't want another excuse to feel afraid and weak, so I'm using my big girl voice to get up and speak. And I'm saying enough is enough is enough. Ooh, yeah. Enough is enough is enough. 'Cause I don't need to be right, I don't have to be tough. All I wanna say is, this is enough. I got some flaws and I got my gifts, and I'm blessed. And I'll lay the critical voices in my head to rest. Well, I'm thankful for the journey here to this moment in time. And I wouldn't go back and redo it for any reason or rhyme. And I'll say enough is enough is enough. Come on. Ooh, yeah. Enough is enough is enough. I don't need to be right, I don't have to be tough. All I want to say is, woo, this is enough. Well, one foot in front of the other, smiling with my sisters and brothers. The joy we reap is the love we've sown, and the only life we can live is our very own. Gotta do our own work, you know. Enough is enough. Oh, enough is enough, is enough. I don't need to be right and I don't have to be tough. All I wanna say is, oh, this is enough. Ooh, this is enough. Oh, more again, this is enough. Don't you know we are enough? I am enough. You are enough. Life is enough. God is enough. We are enough. We are enough. Don't you know this is enough right here, right now? Today is enough. Oh, enough. Don't you know we have enough? Oh, this is enough.
Y'all, just a few quick announcements for you. We have a flower dedication. So you can see them. They're so pretty, aren't they? Beautiful. I'm going to have to ask the office staff to make these not so hard to open. Look who that is. Let's see. To Chip. To Chip, who's made his 76 years count with love, compassion, and commitment. Love you, Pamela. Chip, stand up. Yeah. All right, there you go. All right. It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we've got some ambassadors here. If you're curious about the church, would the ambassadors stand up? There's Rhina and there's Michael. They're gonna, look at those two over there, yeah. A lot of ambassadors. So they can help you answer any questions about the church or anything, any questions you might have about anything. Okay. All right. We've got another workshop coming up March 12th. This is after the service. How many of you know Ray Davis? He sings here sometimes. Ray Davis, fantastic man. He's a scholar in the Kabbalah, and so he's doing a workshop. He's speaking with me in service about the Kabbalah, and then also doing a workshop afterwards about empowerment, the urgency of personal spiritual evolution and how it can spark an up-leveling of global human consciousness, creating a world that truly works for everyone. Cool. It's going to be great. There's a membership meeting for anybody who would like to join the church. It's on March 26th at 11:30 after the service. You can come and find out about our center and what it means to be a member. And then we're still doing outreach with various organizations such as Family to Family and Lift Up Your Voice. There's lots of information about that on our concierge desk, which is out there. And then we've got choir rehearsals today. Our choir is lovely, led by the lovely Mary Kerrigan, and that is downstairs at 11:30. Anybody's welcome to join, so feel free if you want to join us for that. I think that's all I've got for now, so let us go ahead. We'll do one closing prayer, and then stay there. We'll go our separate ways. All right. Turning within. Let us just breathe in the magic of this time together, just trusting and knowing that Spirit has moved through each of us in unique and wonderful ways, in ways that may even be surprising. And we just celebrate the mystery of the divine as it shows up in each and every one of us, as each and every one of us, individuating itself to express in bold and wonderful ways through all of the details of our lives. As we go forth from these doors, we carry this consciousness with us. We carry this energy, we carry this light, we carry this power and this love with us. And we bless the world with the love that we have found here today. And knowing that this is all good and very good, I simply give thanks for this time together. And with a heart filled with gratitude, I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste.